Hey guys, how are you all doing? This is one of the first face-to-face videos I've done in quite a while. I don't think that's really been a conscious decision, but I guess I've just been either busy or not really had that much to say. I was trying to keep up to date with the Free Spin Friday videos, but it turns out that most Fridays I'm working a hell of a lot, and then the last thing I feel like doing when I get home is making videos. But I do kind of miss giving my opinion on things, and so I will try to do some in front of the camera videos when I get time, when I'm not playing GTA 5, basically. I do have a topic that I want to talk about today, and the topic is video game violence. I always listen to the radio in the car on the way to work, and I normally listen to a channel called Real Radio Excess, which is basically a rock channel. But I was getting a little bit tired of it recently and kind of bored with listening to the same songs, so I started listening to another channel called Key 103, which is a Manchester-based radio show. And I was tuning in the day before the GTA 5 release, and so they had a piece basically on, talking about Grand Theft Auto 5, and they had a couple of people on there giving their opinions about the game, and they were saying, basically saying how it's a really violent game, and they thought the certificate for it was a 16, which firstly pissed me off because the most basic level of research would have told them that no, it's an 18. But regardless, they were saying, oh, I wouldn't let my 16-year-old play that game, and making implications that violent video games would somehow lead to violent behaviour, or that the two things were in any way remotely linked. This really pissed me off hearing it, and it's a rehashing of the same old crap that we've heard, over a large period of years about this thing. I can actually remember reading a long time ago when the first GTA game was out, some article written by a shocked mother when she found that her child was playing the video game and squishing cops, and she was horrified about it and all this stuff. And I don't know, I just want to talk about it and get your opinions on video game violence. For me personally, I think it's as simple as this. Some people are violent, some people are murderers, some people are bad people. No amount of violent video games or exposure to violent films or anything like that will turn a person to doing crimes. I can't see how playing a violent game will change you from being a moral person to being someone who decides murder is a good idea. It's just, that to me just sounds absurd. Quentin Tarantino, who's a director that I'm really fond of, has been asked and talked about this for years. People keep asking him over and over again, and the last interview I saw with him about this issue, he basically said, bugger off, I don't want to talk about it. That's a paraphrase. I think what he actually said was, I'm shutting your butt down. But I just find it ridiculous, and they were suggesting, making it seem like censoring video games would be a good idea. But it's like, well, why, firstly, are you targeting video games only? They didn't seem to have any problem with violent films. And I don't think anyone would think it's a clever idea to try and censor anything that mentions violence because, well, it might turn somebody into a criminal, as though that's ever been a logical thing to say. Would that mean that they censor movies? Would that mean that they censor the Bible? I mean, the Bible has got horrific amounts of violence in it. There's stonings, there's hangings, there's beheadings, there's the crucifixion, duh. But no one would dream of saying we should censor that because it might turn somebody violent. The things that lead to violence and antisocial behaviour are not video games. It's far, far deeper than that issue. It's about upbringing and about communication, about social structures. And I just find it so annoying that video games come under the firing line for this sort of thing. I'll admit Grand Theft Auto is a violent game, but it's no different from watching a gangster movie, It's no different from that. I would say there are some parts of the game, I won't give any spoilers away, that have made me think, oh, this is actually quite violent. I'm almost not comfortable with doing this. But on the whole, no, I don't feel like that. But video games are an art form, and there's no reason why any type of art should be censored that I can see, unless it's really sort of inciting hatred, which, a video game about criminals just isn't. And I would just really like to see somebody looking at this with a less biased attitude, and I don't think the media are helping things at all. I will agree that it's quite a dark time at the moment. There have been shootings in America and lots of violence across the world, but this isn't the answer pointing the finger at video games. And I certainly don't feel guilty for playing video games that have violence in, or movies that have violence in. That's just a part of life, and to point the finger at video games is just completely wrong, and it really pissed me off. And I wonder, have you guys ever played a game where you thought that the violence was too much and it actually made you stop playing or question whether you should be playing it? And I don't necessarily mean as an adult, but maybe when you were a child. I do remember a friend of mine. He got Metal Gear Solid taken off him by his mum because of the torture scenes. She was not happy about that at all. I can remember my parents watching me very closely when I was a kid about whether there was violence. I was never allowed to have fighting games when I was a youngster, because my parents thought that they were a bad influence on me. And to be fair, most of the time when I did manage to play Tekken, I'd end up beating the shit out of my brother and fighting. So yeah, fair enough. But it'd be interesting to know what you think, guys. Does it piss you off when people point the finger at violent video games, or do you think there is something to be said for violent video games influencing people's behaviour and making them think differently, and maybe inspiring some people to do violence? I'd be interested to know your thoughts, both on whether violent video games lead to violence, whether video games can push things too far, and what you think about other types of media like movies and stuff. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and maybe we'll get a bit of a discussion going. Take it easy, guys, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.